Clubhouse to kick things off, Tim. What a classic map for us to get things underway. One that I was looking at the stats for, and for both teams, they quite like it, though Weibo do have the stronger record on it over the last 6 months. A 5-2 record to NIP's 3-2, but fair to say, there's a lot of tape, at least historical tape, to go back and look at, because it's been a while since these teams have played.
It is, and I think it's a funny matchup is this one coming in, because it's easy. I think sometimes, you know, you sat at home, you're watching, you think, oh, NIP, I know them, I've heard of them, they're from Brazil, they're great. And you think, Weibo, I've maybe not heard of them so much, they're coming in from APAC, and I think sometimes these like preconceptions of how a match is going to go, but I think this one's really going to shake that up. Weibo, do not sleep on them. They did great in Munich. They were one map away from qualifying through to knockouts, and that was against G2. They did brilliantly. They've got Mipe, they've got Gohan on the backroom staff. A lot of people, you know, might not realise that, but Gohan, he was a player at SI 2017, 2018, 2019. He's a legend of the game. He's from Brazil, and he's now working with Weibo, and he's going to be going up against NIP with a game style that he's very familiar with. But I expect them to come in here super prepped and ready. NIP are not going to have an easy day.
I remember seeing the tweet that Gohan was back, and I was like, wow, someone took up an old tweet from 7 years ago. Hang on a minute, this is like recent. He's back in the scene. It was great to see. But speaking of players that are in this game in particular, I think there's two names that really jump out. You've heard the desk already speak about Fantasy and his importance to NIP, but my thing is that on the other side, he's got Reaps, Tim. The Reaper himself is in the server. He is terrifying when he's on his day. So sure, we can be excited about Fantasy, but there's a man on the other side who wants to see him completely shut out of this game.
Yeah, you know, when we look at that Fantasy side of things, exactly like they said on the desk, he came in with such sort of flame and fire and ready to go, and then he's had this big lull, and it's kind of like he's back now with NIP. But there's actually a great story about Fantasy from Paris. SI21, he comes over to Europe and starts playing ranked while they're kind of getting ready for the tournament to start, and I remember a lot of the European pros tweeting like, don't play ranked at the minute, Fantasy is just terrorising it. And he came over here and just absolutely dominated. So, you know, that's the form that we're looking for him to return to, and we're going to keep a close eye on him through this game.
All right, well, let's get into how things are shaping up. Fantasy himself is the one rolling around on that Solus. Seen a lot of her, of course, since the update she had a good while ago now, but teams have definitely put her into their wheelhouse. Wizard taking quite a bit of fire here as well, certainly under threat inside the bar, but will be able to get himself back in towards sight just as the gunshots start coming on through off the back of a Dockerby call. Speakeasy pressuring down main stairs, forcing Fantasy away. Just trying to get rid of this roam, essentially, put NIP back down in the basement and give themselves at least half the round, if not a little bit more to work with. But the pain here, Tim, they've lost the Dockerby, probably one of the key operators they so sorely needed when it came round to the execute.
Yeah, and that's great for NIP, because a lot of the time they're looking towards Fantasy for those entries. He was plus 12 through stage 2. He was plus 9 in Munich. He's always going to be a big frontline entry player. But if Hates is coming in and picking up that entry, if other NIP players are doing that job, just like Fox has said on the desk, it's connecting those two sides of the team. It's giving that support to Fantasy as well. And if they can link those two up, they could be dangerous, not just for Weibo, but in overall tournament consideration as well.
How on earth Fantasy has dodged around all these verticals as they've opened up. It's been a real siege time moment. He's been dancing back and forth and just narrowly avoided it by a matter of pixels. Almost gets rid of the head, but now that they know where he is, well, things aren't quite so easy for NIP. They have been massaged back into the corner of Church and down towards Blue. Things are looking pretty good for the attackers here, even though they're down a man. NIP just playing it slowly and sensibly. Don't need to go too crazy here on the defense.
He's looking for him through the pots and pans, Des. We've seen this one before, and a little bit more success previously. Reaps manages to pick up Wizard, brings it back to a 4v4. 35 seconds left to go, and Weibo, they need to start getting a little bit more aggressive now. Take a bit of ground, find a kill. That might just open things up. It's Reaps, second in the round. Fantasy down 3v3 as Pino fights back.
2 versus 3, then Reaps has really got to go nuclear here, but Pino's going to shut him out. The old boy stands up big. Com's finding one more. Speakeasy all alone. It's a 1v3 with nowhere near enough time to get this diffuser down while firing the kills required at the same time. Round 1 going to NIP. Well played first round by them. They were moved back early, but got the entry and then thought, cool, 5v4, we'll happily play defense here and not try and go too aggressive.
Yeah, really like that from NIP. Look, looked really solid on the defence, backing each other up. Like I say, Hates coming in with that big opener, setting them up 5v4. It's always going to be difficult if you lose that entry when you're attacking Church and Arsenal, because exactly what NIP did, and this is something, I know that the roster has changed drastically, but it's something that NIP have done for the longest time, and I feel like Pino was always a big part of it, and that was controlling rounds. When Julio was with NIP, I've spoken to him over the years, another one of our sort of huge SI names, Julio, of course. You know, I've spoken to him over the years, and I've asked about this with NIP, and it's always been a focus for the org, for the team, for the roster, to control rounds. And by getting that opening kill, you then saw them drop back to site, play it 5v4, burn the time, and it's something NIP have always done really, really well, on the defence particularly, is control the pace of the round. They've done it well there in round one. They're going to be looking for a bit more of that now. It's a little bit more difficult when we go up onto the top floor, which we will do here. So it's CCTV cash. There's going to be more opportunities for Weibo to get themselves into this one.
Yeah, and already you can see how lineups are changing as well, going in towards the Capital, which normally points in towards a garage catwalk take. Of course, you've heard already the casters today speak an awful lot about Capital and just how powerful an operator he is. And on this map, well, it's no surprising at all the Capital is brought along to help out with the siege that goes on inside the garage itself. But on the other side, Tim, they've got a lot of stall here. We've got the Clash, got the Smoke, got the Tuberau coming out. A lot of tools to slow down the other side. This site is one of those, as you can see, you can't slow people down for too long. They only really need 2 compass directions of control. And of course, you can't take the north because Cash Wall to the north, well, it's fully closed off. It's concrete. You can't get through it. But you can get control of Garage. You can get control of the main breach out to the east. You can get inside construction to the west. Once you have a couple of those, you can make a plant happen. So it's not like you need a lot of time here as the attackers. So I'm more looking to see how effectively can they get control of things like Garage, and can they keep all players alive? So far, yes, as they got rid of 1, 2, and 3. They've hit the gas here, Tim. They've gone in hard and fast. Pino at least fighting back, but it's a 3 versus 2. Surely this is Weibo's to win.
Reaps just got in, got the job done, and almost got back out. Does lose his life on the way out of the window, but as you said, the damage is pretty much done. They've lost the smoke of Hates. They've lost Wizard on the Clash. They lose Pino to Speakeasy, and all of a sudden 1v3, and Cons has got a real job to do here. But not only that, there's 1 minute 30 left on the clock. He's fighting the time as well, but he takes the fight to them with a kill on the breach. Surely not, as Hoven manages to pop around the corner and find that last kill. Weibo managed that round. I spoke about NIP managing the first round. Weibo managed that round really, really well. When they got themselves into that 3v2 position, there was no rushing them. Minute 30 on the clock. We're going to take our time. We're going to find where we are. We're going to go in and get those kills, and they did so, 1 at a time. Nicely done. Good stuff from Weibo. 1-1.
I think for both teams across 2 rounds, you've seen really good, disciplined, composed siege so far, which is wonderful to see. And you might say at the start of that round, they didn't look very composed, Ed. Inside 60 seconds, they had everyone inside a site. They were losing players. They were picking up kills. That didn't look composed. It's like a calculated risk they were taking. Once they got the entry, they knew that gaps were existing and tried to then capitalize on that. I think you'll very happily put yourself down to a 3 versus 2 if you know you can take 3 players off the other side while potentially only losing 2 of your own. So it was good identity spotting from Weibo to see the gap, jump in there, collapse on a couple of players, and then just play out the rest of the round nice and sensibly. Both teams have done that now across round 1 and round 2, so we've got a flavor. Now what happens to the rest of the half is going to tell an awful lot about which way this game might go. That reminder again that it is Weibo's map pick. They chose to start on the attacking side here. So, well, chose to start on the attacking side. Ended up on the attacking side because NIP picked the defensive side. But they're looking pretty cozy so far, I'd say. Even after that first round where they lost the Dockerby early on, they were still showing really good pressure inside the first 60 seconds to force the Romans back. Just unfortunate that Turd lost his life in the process.
Let's move into round 3 then. We've got Speakeasy bringing along the Blackbeard, surely going to be used to just assist that kind of initial push onto the Roamers, clear out anybody underneath, take a little bit of ground, whilst they also work towards that breach up on the top floor, being that they are attacking gym and bedroom. Going to face up to Cons on the Mirror. The Mirror not banned away here. Instead, they've gone for the Kaid and Bandit to try and ensure that they can get those breaches off, which is going to be happening as I speak. And we can see now, it's not the cleanest though, is it, Des?
It's not.
It does the job. It does the job.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it was the start, but there's still more to do, and it's always a risk when you have to then crouch to get inside as well. It just puts you into a very, very uncomfortable spot where you're very, very slow moving. A swing onto you, you're basically guaranteed to be dead at that spot. And you've still got Con sat on the other side looking to challenge the whole time. So at least for now, they can put some focus on this, but don't need to worry about it yet. I'd more rather see them look at where else they're going to attack too, because you can always assume a team is going to attack from Jacuzzi at some point in the round. The real question comes in, do they clear out Cash and CC? Do they go in instead towards Logi? There are other parts of the map that you have to worry about to make and execute work here. And as of yet, Weibo haven't shown their cards on where they want to attack from.
No, they've spent a lot of time working on that Jacuzzi wall. They have got that job done now. Also interesting to see Ape bringing along that DMR on the Hibana. Obviously a recent change. And
I love it so much.
Phenomenal change. Absolutely love it. She is so self-sufficient now. And I think we're going to see quite a lot of Hibana play because of that. Nitro comes out, not going to do any damage at all. Weibo keeping themselves safe. But Des, a minute 15. I just don't feel like they've made enough progress. Hoven is still working on the other side of the map to get inside of Cash and CCTV.
And they just burnt so much utility here in terms of frags and flashes and all the rest of it to try and force him away. Have got rid of the mirror window, but now need to clear out the player. In they try and get rid of 2. Make it 3, make it 4 yet again. Weibo have hit the floor and just gone for this one. Plants going down, Speakeasy. No contest here coming out from Hates and NIP. They take a blink and just go, what just happened, guys? We've been flawless rounded in about 10 seconds flat.
What a collapse from Weibo there. Absolutely. But I'm saying at the minute 15 mark, I'm a little bit concerned. They haven't made enough progress. Hoven was still outside of the building. 10 seconds later, he's killing them in construction. He's just wandered straight in. They have completely, NIP, taken their eyes off that backside there. I think there's been so much focus around Jacuzzi Breach with good reason. That's the only real noise that Weibo were making. They've focused up on that side. And it feels like Hoven has just, on his own, beautifully slipped in from that rear side and managed to get himself a kill. And it just opens things up. Reaps, I mean, you picked up on Reaps at the beginning of things, and he's going well.
Lembra daquela parada que a gente conversou? Eles estão fazendo um full tack, o cara tá fudendo a gente de baixo lá. Beleza, a gente comunicou ali que a gente queria trocar o cara na academia, mas depois a gente parou de trocar. Depois a gente parou, tá ligado? A gente deixou o cara traquear e falar que não tem ninguém na academia, eles conseguiram progredir de boa, tá ligado? Eu não quero isso, mano. Eu não quero isso. Então, mano, ó, vamos fazer a recuada agora e a gente continua peitando. Mano, eu não quero que a gente give as coisas pra eles. Então eles dominam embaixo, tá de boa, tá ligado? Que a gente não consegue bater embaixo, lá no Demos, entendeu?
Vamos jogar mais seletivo então, vamos bater neles.
Então, ó, na recuadinha agora a gente joga, mano, fazendo nossos step de boa. Demorou? Cuidado com a descida da nova de 12, beleza?
Tá.
Cuidado com essa descida da caveira. Nos bombes de cima, mano, pega um mute, tá ligado? Se Demos não fazer tanta coisa, entendeu? Demorou? E traz mute também, mano, pra gente counterar a Ribana, tá ligado? Eles não estão pegando Maverick.
What did you think, Des?
Well, I know you've been learning French. I can't
You
say I've been
understood
learning
that French
Portuguese
earlier, but
at the
you
same
can't
time.
quite understand the Portuguese.
No, but of course to make it even for all, we have to make sure that's, of course, publicised. If you can, of course, understand Portuguese and you're in the chat,
We've also got the wonderful Maria with us.
We do, and Maria normally does step in for that, but I imagine there are a few too many games going on to expect it to be able to come before us all the time. Either way, I imagine it's a case of trying to get some control back in the game because you're down 2-1, you've lost 2 of the 3 defenses on this map, and NIP historically, we're a fantastic club team. As I said, coming into this one, it's very much a middle of the pack for both teams. You know, both have got it as fifth in their preference order. It is slap bang in the middle, both with similar results, 3-2 NIP on it over the last 6 months, Weibo 5-2, so both like it and will play it. It's just that Weibo have come in with a little more force here, especially in round 3. I feel round 1 and round 2, we got to see the good parts of both teams, and then in that round just a second ago, well, it was all Weibo. It was a flawless round, so NIP, they cannot have a repeat of that first quarter. Otherwise, they're going on to the attack, already down 2-4.
It's not really a place that you want to be. Not really a place that you want to be, Des. Like I said coming into it, and I said it for good reason, you know, don't write Weibo off. They did fantastically in Munich, and I don't just mean in terms of results. I know they didn't get through the Swiss stage. It was a close run thing. It was more about their performances. I spoke to Meepy a couple of times. Wizard, just going to open things up with one onto Reaps. That's exactly the oldest angle in the book as well when you're looking up through the hatch there. I think Weibo need to be careful. Don't want to be giving themselves away too easily. And look who he's got. He's got the Hibana, so that's going to be a big loss in terms of those hatches as well. But yeah, you know, as I was saying, the performances out of Weibo have shown them that they can perform at this really high level, and NIP are finding that out at present. But I know that NIP have definitely got enough in the tank to get themselves back in. But we have been having this little bit of a fantasy focus. There's 0-3 so far. We need to see him at his best. We need to see him at his most electric, and we're just not getting it out of him at the minute.
First map nerfs, he'll wake up, don't worry about that. But I did like how aggressively NIP were trying to defend Kitchen here, knowing that it was a key control point for Weibo. You know, chucking his army up inside the Kitchen itself, having support onto the window for Wizard below, and then also having cons on the Clash out in the corridor to make sure no one could sweep him from the doorway and bring down Hates where there was no one covering him. It was just really, really smart. They had every entry point in towards Kitchen covered off. They have now dropped away, but as you've seen, they've got rid of Reaps. They've wasted a chunk of time as well. Really good defense by NIP so far once again.
Yeah, I expect it down on this basement site. They know exactly how to manage the round. They've gone in, they've got themselves an entry exactly like they did back in round 1. They've fallen back and they're just going to hold their positions, play behind Cons on the Clash. They know that he's a bit of a win factor there. He can really waste that time, burn it down, and make Weibo feel like they don't have any options. You know, make them think, oh, plan B, plan C, plan D, because this one, they're just going to be eating through them. They've got a minute left to go. They've still, look, there's barbed wire everywhere. There's utility all over the place that they haven't been able to shift, and they're going to have a little bit of a problem. It's going to be going straight in, looking for kills. Ape manages to find Pino. Forbes. Absolute beauty! Absolute. Forget everything I've said, Des. Forget everything I've said. Forget everything I've said. What are you going to do against a show like that? Unreal. Absolutely beautiful stuff from up here there. Drops, gets the one, flips and hits the one above the Kiba barricade. Just wonderful. And this is what I'm saying about this Weibo side, is they have the ability to find a way to find the kills. Ape, Reaps, they will go in there, get it done. Turd is one of those players as well that can just have these electric moments. And you know, like I say, coming in, anybody can be forgiven for looking and think, oh, NIP, Brazilian, yeah, they should be. No, you know, don't write Weibo off.
I think the thing is, like, look at this moment here. Like, there's so little to stop them dropping in towards blue, and they simply didn't expect it, I don't think, either. But while we were so focused on the two players dropping in towards blue and catching one player completely off guard, as well as that wonderful snap from Hoven, absolutely. Elsewhere, there was other plays going on. It was exactly the same as their Cash CC attack last time round, when they just swarmed in towards the site all at once. NIP are overwhelmed. They haven't got all the cover they thought they did have for each other, and you saw the outcome. The key thing for me is Weibo have won down in the basement. That was the one that they couldn't win back in that first quarter. Now we're going up to Cash and CC, where they looked pretty comfortable last time around. Got themselves to a 3 versus 2 and massaged it over to a win from there. I think you're going to see more of the same, and things might be about to go from bad to worse for NIP.
I think you're right. I think you're right. At this rate, they're going to struggle to get back into it, because it's kind of like, it's starting to look like one of those games for NIP. No matter what you try to do, no matter what you achieve, Weibo just managed to kind of come back and find a way, find an answer. And when you're playing against sides like that, it is super, super difficult. You know, there's nothing that NIP massively did wrong there. They got themselves the opening kill onto the Hibana. They held their ground. They got themselves back to site. They had a minute. They burnt 2 minutes off the clock, and still it wasn't enough. Weibo were able to just drop the hatch, take the fights, win, and go from there. So right now, you know, what is the answer for NIP? They've got to hold on to Catwalk better than they did last time. They've got to do that. No surprise we've seen a Capito ban. That was the big one last time. Wizard was burnt out, and quite often we see this now. Teams will just move away from a site having lost it, and then we're going to go back to that same place later on after our next ban, once we've taken away your win factor. But Reaps manages to pick up Pino, Hoven onto Hates.
The game's done. It's 5v3 already. Like, Reaps is absolutely going off. Fantasy still going to struggle, I think, to find a kill here. Should get shot in the back, but no, has managed to pass by his opponent. It's Ape on towards the side, and it is a bit of a freebie being picked up there. A couple of shots coming back, but it's already a 1v5, and this is a horrible spot for Wizard. He's so dirty, he's so cooked, might get rid of one, but Turd's there to pick up the next, and once again, Weibo just completely overwhelmed the Brazilians.
The thing is, I think the end of that round kind of sums up how NIP must feel at the minute. Wizard in that position with just nades, utility, gunshots, everything flying in towards him. Must be how NIP feel, because no matter what they do, they've just got Weibo absolutely breathing down their necks at the minute. You know, if it's not Hoven, it's Reaps. If it's not Reaps, it's Ape. They just can't stop them. And look, this is a team that smells blood in the water at the minute, is Weibo. They are just going after it.
It's hard when a team can switch up from being slow to fast. I remember speaking to teams historically, and they're like, oh, you know, we either like playing against fast teams because that's our kind of vibe, or we like playing against slow teams where we can slowly beat them down. Weibo are showing that they can play both styles, where they can be very, very fast in the early rounds to get a bit of map control, then they slow things down, they're back on the drones, but at the flick of the dime, they just turn things around and suddenly are hyper-aggressive, like Reaps is exploding forwards, killing a couple of players. Ape's dropped through a hatch and doing exactly the same. And it makes it so hard to set up for when you don't quite know, are they slowly going to chew through us here, or are they about to explode on towards site? You're just constantly on edge and always wondering what's going to come next. And it feels so far like NIP just cannot deal with that pressure. Had a great time down in the basement at the very, very start of the game, but that's the 4th attacking round in a row being won by Weibo. And going onto this site, Tim, what slowed them down last time? It was the mirror. What was banned away after round 3? It was the mirror.
I think NIP this time are going... I'm not saying they weren't aware of it last time, but I think that Weibo was so quiet out towards Cash and CCTV side that NIP, you know, probably in many situations, quite rightly, moved manpower over towards the Jacuzzi side. I think this time they're going to stay much more focused and aware of that other side of the map. We can see they've got Wizard playing inside of Cash there. He is in a critical position. He's got Hits in construction to back him up, Fantasy at top red stairs. So they've got that full extension over on that side this time. But guess what? That might create a bit of space over by Jacuzzi side. So again, Weibo could switch this up and play a bit of pressure from the other side. But right now, it looks like they're going to meet the challenge head on, Des.
Yeah, there's 3 players here out towards Cash and CC, and they know they've got to get through Fantasy and Wizard. You know, they've had drones rolling on through. Reaps have seen an awful lot of what's going on. The blessing of having the shield as Speakeasy, of course, is you can take a lot of space very easy and feed information to the rest of your team. So hopefully they're aware there's a player on red. There's, of course, one inside of Cash that they know about. They've got to find a way to get through them. The Yin Candela comes out, C4 comes up, doesn't quite find his man. They've got rid of one, but now the pressure begins. They've got a second, Tim. We're about to look for the third, but the composure from Speakeasy has been brilliant. When he saw that he was under threat, immediately redeployed that shield, and it's just set his team up for success with him. 4v2.
Absolutely fantastic Monty play, but here goes Hits. Manages to pick up one, taking Reaps off the window. That could be a really big kill. Turd is actually moving to replace him in that position because it's so key for what Weibo want to do. But look at the hit points. They're all down. Even Hoven has taken some chip damage. This is possible for Cons and Hits to hold on, but no. Turd retook the window and finds the kills. It's allowed Hoven in as well. Great play again from Weibo. Absolutely, they're just doing everything right at the minute, Des. Use of utility. Capitao onto Catwalk, brilliant. Monty through construction, brilliant. Everything they're doing it well. They lose Reaps on the window, Turd straight away moves across. That's our power position. We need somebody there. Gets a kill 20 seconds later. Brilliant stuff. Really, really impressed. 5-1, and they've earned it.
Again, it's the ability to slow things down after they've gone ludicrously fast to get that explosion of kills at the start. Like, I think we had, whoever it was that was playing on the Ying, remind me real quickly, it was Hoven. He dropped inside Logi, held the angle on main stairs for Cons, and Cons got a bit jittery. He was the one that ran in towards Jim and peeked the window. Turb was just sat there holding it. He was like, I haven't got to do anything here. We'll wait and see what they do first. We've still got 70 seconds of the round to play, like you can see here. Just ready and waiting. They went from being really breakneck speed fast to slowing it right down and seeing what NIP did next, and they just played into the hands of Weibo, who get that 5-1 attack in half. Now they go on the defense. And NIP have really got to show a little bit of magic here, I think, Tim, because I mean, looking at both teams, they've got about a 10% differential between their attack and defense. Both are better defending teams, but NIP historically have had that reputation for being quite a slow attacking team. They did pick it up a little bit and start to improve, but are they still the finished article yet? I'm not too sure, but we've really got to see something special out of them here. Fantasy especially at 1 and 6. If ever you're going to see someone transform their fortunes inside of a map, Tim, it's at the halfway point. He's got to go big for them.
Yeah, real struggle bus time for NIP here. Got to dig deep and get themselves. I think the next 3 rounds. I think they need, you know, a successful attack on each of Weibo's sites so that they can really kind of send the message that this is going to be their attacking half and that Clubhouse is going to be attacker-sided today. But I'll be honest, not convinced that they're going to get it. We'll kick things up on the top floor. It's going to be gym and bedroom. Just looking across the lineup, again, a little bit of frustration ops being brought along. We got the Fenrir, we got the Malusi, we got the Arune, likely for the DMR, but those laser gates, again, just make things a little bit difficult, just slow everything down on the side of NIP. So the big question for me here, NIP on the attack, how do you deal with that utility? How well do you manage that? Do you run out of time? That's going to be the big one.
I do also want to give a nod towards Hoven, by the way, and it's easy to say when he's 8-1, but over the last 3 months or so, he has been the highest rated player for this team. Yeah, we speak a lot about Reaps, and very fairly so. He's unbelievable. You know, even with the ridiculous sends that he plays the game with, he absolutely domes people for fun. But Hogan's been the one that's up there. He's got the most multi-kills to the team, the most 1vx clutches, 5 in the last 90 days, which is mad across just 15 maps. Yeah, he really has put on a show. And I think if this is the start of a great tournament-defining performance for him, then it could be quite scary facing off against him for other teams in future rounds.
Just going to hear the Flores taking out some of that utility. Again, good progress from NIP. This is what I said. Let's focus on how they deal with removing that utility and clearing a path for themselves. And so far, they're doing pretty well. They've got Jacuzzi wall open. They've got the bathroom wall open. They've got Flores draining in. But Hoven is going to pick up Wizard. That's the entry once again going to Weibo. 5 versus 4. Reaps is still in position in cash. They haven't moved him yet. 1:20 left to go. It's not the end of the world just yet. But it is quickly going to become that way because Hoven, he's now the spare man and he's able to just roam around here. Fantasy, he might just get caught out from behind if he's not careful, but no. Hoven has decided to play it smart, get himself back up to catwalk and help to keep Reaps and Turd in position.
They have got to be careful here because with 2 or 3 players looking to push out towards the east side of things, you do leave NIP with a man advantage hitting sites itself. So Ape and Speakeasy have got to go big. Turd can rejoin them here, but it is a 4v3. Fantasy is in. There he goes, his second kill of the game on the board onto Ape. The kill back the other way though. Speakeasy, Fantasy on towards a double. This is what we wanted to see from him, Tim.
Yeah, this is exactly what they need, and maybe he just had to get on to that attack inside. He was looking to put the diffuser down for a second. I think maybe just playing with the audio, trying to just bait them out into a fight.
He's got to do it all.
All or nothing, 1v2. It's going to lock him out the ace if he does this. Hoven Turd, they just need to play this sensibly though. 20 seconds left. They don't have to engage here. Try and force him into a position where he needs to put the diffuser down. He's playing with the audio at the minute, but they're not biting Des. They're not taking the bait. He knows where one is. He comes around looking for the challenge. Cannot find it. Hoven, he switches to the shotty and finds the kill. Absolutely brilliant stuff again from Weibo just to manage that situation at the end of the round. They are ticking so many boxes in this game.
It's such a shame as well for Fantasy, who found 3 in the round. Like, that's the kind of performance we wanted to see coming into the half. But Hoven also got a 3K, Tim. His jump out at the start, I was like, what's he doing? He ran towards the breach and went for the man that he knew was out on balcony, but there could have been a second player out there. There very often is. It was a calculated risk that he took, but they removed all pressure on that east side of the map, gave themselves a lot of comfort, and knew that NIP either had to commit the whole team to clearing the east side, or they had to hit site. As soon as they heard any kind of noise out towards the main breach, everyone started rotating back over. So nice try for Fantasy. But Hoven and the final boss, that is Weibo, just a little bit too much for them here so far, Tim. They're up 6-1 and might be about to close out Clubhouse 7-1.
I think part of the problem for NIP here is, you know, the lack of energy in the team as well. Don't get me wrong, you're getting slapped about in the mirror. You know, I appreciate it's not easy, but they kind of look like they've been knocked out of the tournament already. Like, come on, boys, you got to get back into this one. It's just map 1. You know, get focused, get locked in. Dan has no opportunity to interject as the coach anymore because they've used their tactical timeout. So it's all on the players now, and I feel like they need that leader, they need that player to be saying, come on, let's get back into it. But you look across that lineup at the minute and there are some sullen faces right now because nothing they try is working.
Scary one looking at it. I mean, you look at this group and you would have thought obvious teams to go through would have been MAT, Weibo, NIP, probably FearX. But obviously Heretics have come out to a good start and got a win there. You know, FearX could yet bounce back, and if NIP can't pick up their performances for future games, one series win we often say can be enough in this group. But I have a feeling, Tim, it's not going to come down to one because that will leave it down to round difference. It's going to come down to convincing performances across the air quotes easier games. And without wanting to put either of these two teams down, they're not probably what you consider to be an M80, right? This should be the kind of game that one of them is walking away with cleanly, and right now, it's only Weibo. Yes, it's only map 1, there's still more to come, but I do start getting that sinking feeling for NIP. Yes, it's only day 1, still more to come, but it's not a convincing performance so far.
You just got to wonder as well how much is, how much impact has the Gohan effect had?
Yeah.
You know, he's in there, he's teaching them how do you play against Brazilian teams. He's going to know, and right now they are certainly shaping up fantastically well. 6-1, can they close this out here and now? They are this time going to be defending Cash and CCTV. Interesting to note as well, they need 1 round. They've still got Church and Arsenal in the bank.
Yeah, well, look where everyone is as well, right? Every player except Speakeasy is off-site right now. Like, there's this massive scrap going on towards the gym and bedroom side. You have Fantasy there for a second looking in towards construction window. Of course, gives you the option to cut off that rotate back towards site for your team, but Hoven will not be stopped say that till we stop 2 seconds later. 12 and 2, turn into another. Fantasy's off the board. He was the X factor for them in the previous round, but now they've got 3 versus 4. It's looking rough.
I just wonder about NIP here. They're playing into Weibo's setup. Now they seem to have recognised that. They've switched and said, hang on a minute, we can just hit site here and they'll have to play back into us. But the question is, have they already lost too many bodies? Has the damage been done? They're dealing with the Evil Eyes. They're taking them out to give themselves an opportunity to plant, but they need to get a couple of kills beforehand. Ape fights his way back in, reaps onto Wizard. It's done, Des. Forget about it. Ape, he's going to just disable this diffuser, and that is Weibo 7-1. Rapid fashion, they take map 1.
Cons really had to win that gunfight on towards the side door, but no, missed the first couple of shots and that let Ape get back out there with the headshot to get the close down. They looked well and truly unbothered in that map, Tim. Very comfortable with the 7-1. Makes you wonder, how does Border go here? Because with how the gunshots have been going, I really fancy Weibo on that map.
I love what I'm seeing from them. These players have been around International Siege for a little while. They've been very well liked as a team, you know, through Bleed and Team Joel and everything else. To see the improvement that they've come across is just phenomenal.
This is the best of 3. NIP can still fight back. We'll find out if they do it after a short break.
Weibo are out of the gates, nice and hot, taking a 7-1 win on Clubhouse, and very convincingly so. We've seen APAC teams in the past, you know, kind of get a little bit of momentum, stumble a little bit here and there, but I will say this never seemed in doubt once they got their hands on the wheel.
No, this is what I was anticipating. Weibo was so decisive in the way they were able to pick apart NIP. They understood it well. NIP is built around fantasy. So if Weibo approaches it with such aggression, sporadic, being able to take position quickly, if NIP is not backing fantasy, they're also not prepared for all of the other angles that Weibo are going to be approaching with the Blackbeard, with the Glass, with the Deimos. And it just goes to show that Weibo, since Munich, have only been getting that much better, ramping up that momentum, because some of the shots that they were hitting too were absolutely disgusting.
I mean, you could see every single one of these players individually was confident in their play, confident to be able to play off one another. And this is what I was talking about. Sure, it is a map like Clubhouse, but the diversity this team has now comparatively to any other APAC team just goes to show. Sometimes they were playing very strategic, very slow in how they were taking control. Then they would see an opening, then they would get explosive. But that wasn't just off one player doing that. That was every player understanding the win condition, what they need to do, how they can get aggressive. And again, it really speaks into the sheer fundamentals that this roster currently has.
Yeah, I think what's really important as well is when you look to the EPS, right? This is just the easiest way to set a standard, a benchmark. That's absolutely outrageous.
I mean, also, when you're looking even at the kills, and sure, you know, you're going to look at Hoven, 12-2. I mean, phenomenal play.
Crazy.
Going 8-3. But even Speakeasy, going 3-3, 88% cost, it still shows that even if you aren't at the topping the charts here, every single one of these players is putting their first foot forward to be the next player to step up, to be the next player to help their opponent. I mean, they're just doing a good job.
Yeah, and I think when you look on the side retrospectively to NIP, I mean, Fantasy was 0-5 up until the 5th round. So that being said, everybody else on the roster, Cons, the rest of the players on the bottom, still only ended with about 1 or 2 kills. If Fantasy is not getting kills, what are the rest of the players doing? If they're not able to back him up, play off of his trades, then they're also not being able to get their own impact into the server. This is too much built around Fantasy. Then the pressure, if it gets onto him, it causes NIP to crumble.
And that really is the downside, because on one side of defense, you shouldn't have to rely on one player to amplify your sort of aggression, because yes, Fantasy will get aggressive, whether it's on attack or defense, but that shouldn't be solely reliant on your defensive half. You still have 4 other players that can play together. They have to play into your crossfires. So to still be losing that outright definitely doesn't set you up for success. But again, yes, it does really fall heavily on Fantasy being able to amplify the rest of the team. And then looking at Cons, he had a very poor performance. We've seen him throughout the stage. We've highlighted him. There's times where he's really good. There's times where he's really bad. And it's a situation being that IGL, he needs to be the one that is leading by example, regardless if Fantasy is getting those kills. He needs to be able to rally everyone, get them on the same page, understand what's going on, because even in some of those rounds, Fantasy was the last life. That shouldn't be the case.
Now we're moving over to Border, which is notoriously known as probably the most attacking sided map we have in Siege, especially in the competitive pool. With that versatility that we keep talking about, that Weibo is showing, the changes in paces, what are NIP bringing to this? What can they bring to this to disrupt what we've just seen from Weibo?
I mean, this is the thing. Border is one of NIP's, if not their best map. And that being said, it's because of their aggression, being able to get Fantasy into these openings, East Stairs, into CC, just being able to get that impact onto this play, onto Weibo essentially. But from what we just saw on Clubhouse, Weibo is outmatching, out-aggressing NIP, because they know that if they just go to the direction where Fantasy is or around him, the rest of the team is not going to be able to involve themselves enough.
I think that also speaks to what I was talking about with Gohan now coming in as the coach, having that Brazilian experience, understanding that if you want to play an aggressive game, we can meet you head on with that. But that also really speaks into the temperament on the side of NIP of understanding maybe they need to dial it down a little bit. Maybe they need to wait for an aggressive team to make that mistake, come into their crossfire, play those angles, play those trades. That is the best way to deal with an aggressive team if you can't be able to find your own aggression. Not to say that I don't want NIP to get aggressive, but sometimes you do have to let the other team make the mistake.
We need to see something from NIP that we have never seen before, and that's depth in their play style. Being able to understand, hey, this is the first time in a while we're getting out-aggressed. We need to play it slow, actually have crossfires so that if somebody dies first, if Fantasy's not getting those kills, boom, trades right there. That's something that we have not seen from NIP in the history of their organization being in Siege. We need to see it, push comes to shove, in a moment like this.
Gents, thank you very much for breaking down both Map 1 and what to look forward to for Map 2. However, it is time for Ace and Des to take the wheel.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, here we are for map 2. And as you've heard, the picture being painted by our desk is not a fantastic one, Tim. NIP have really got to shape things up here. And I personally think going into a map like Border, you couldn't really ask for a better map archetype to do it on.
I mean, it's a pretty good picture if you're Weibo.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, they're flying and they're, look at that. I'm sorry, but the social vote is a fickle thing. It was favouring NIP to begin with. Everybody's on board with Weibo. Look, this team really doesn't need a lot of invitation to support them.
You know what we do need, though, Tim? An invitation to the map. Border's ready. Let's get into it. Gotta say, I do love the visual design
I knew you
for
were
this
going to say
event.
that. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
It's so gorgeous.
The
It really could.
the toile de juillet, the fabric.
Don't start talking French.
No,
again,
it's
Tim.
called that's what it's called. It's called toile de juillet. But yeah, that's like the fabric that you see, and it's something that like the big design houses in France have. So I won't say your big brand names, but like your big sort of classic fashion designers, they all have like their own like in-house toile de juillet, and it's like a real creative thing. I think it's like you say. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and everything that goes along with it is phenomenal. I'm really impressed.
Let's go through some of our bands, shall we? Seeing the Ying taken away. So that utilised by, I believe it was Cons a couple of times back on the previous maps. That's been ripped away. The Oceania, a similar story. That's what NIP hates in particular, playing a lot of that, but it is them banning it away. And I'm not wholly surprised to see the mirror removed here by NIP. You can make this map a little more defendable, make these spots that maybe aren't so defensively strong that little bit stronger and makes them more playable. So just trying to give themselves a bit of a cleaner route through here to be able to get rid of 2 of those architects, to be able to push in more aggressively, because that's what we've got to see for me, Tim. We've got to see aggression, but not just aggression, team-based aggression. It's what gave Weibo so many rounds back on that previous map. NIP have really got to set the tempo here on the attacking side. That's where they begin. Weibo on the defense. Let's see how things go here up on this top floor to start things off.
I think the problem that NIP are going to face here is that, I've said it twice already in the last map, and I'm sure I'm probably going to say it again here. I fully expect to say it again here on Border, and that is that Weibo have had the answers. So NIP, yeah, okay, I think you're right. Let's bring the aggression. Let's increase that. Let's, unleash somebody like Fantasy. They said on the desk there, one of the big problems was that Fantasy was often last alive and around. It's not what you want. You want him going in there, creating chaos, getting kills. Doesn't matter if he loses his life. That's what the other players are there for, is then to mop up what's left kind of thing. But even if you try that, it's like Weibo still have the answer to it. So even if they come in and they get Fantasy in the building quickly and he's getting aggressive, you feel like there's a good chance that this Weibo side are just going to shut him down.
Yeah, that is part of the concern. Obviously, you've got others on the team that we're keeping an eye on as well to see what they can do. It isn't all about Fantasy. He is on this round on that Thatcher with the revised EMP. Saw some interesting interactions in our previous games today, where, for example, if you shoot the inactive Skopos shell, then the Skopos can't then TP away. Now, of course, there is no Skopos here, but I do think it says that we're going to see teams finding some really interesting uses for the new revised Thatcher throughout this tournament. Now they've had a little bit of time to cook with him. A great C4, though, and it's Fantasy who's down but not out.
How do you deal with aggression? You match it with aggression. Fantasy, actually, I don't think he'll know how close he was to dying there. Another Nitro comes out, but look at this. There's just aggression everywhere. Oven trying to get outside of the map to find the finish there. Does get picked up by hits. 4v4, but Fantasy down. He will be collected. 20 HP, though. There's a lot of damage been done to this NIP side, and the fight, as we know, on Border, is about getting inside of the map. And right now, NIP, they don't have one toe inside of the map. There's absolutely nothing. They're all pushed out towards that east side, just trying to reposition, trying to move around. They're now going to have to burn 20 seconds, getting into a new spot. What's the new plan? It looks like it's going to be a push towards CCTV as Cons is relocating with that shield as well. The blitz is going to be a big part of where you try to push in. Fantasy and Hits are now following over as well. So this is a complete shift from NIP. I like that they're willing to adapt, but Weibo are ready for this. They've got the clash now facing up. Speakeasy's coming out onto the balcony to bully them.
And they really haven't given themselves a lot of time with which to do it, Tim. We're coming down to the last 60 seconds at this point, and they're only just now looking to try and get inside. Pino, almost being tagged out by 2 separate players, is down to a slither of HP. Up comes Yamara looking to capitalise, but no! Ape's there first, finds his man into a second. Hello! We know that he's there. We know that he's not dead, but he can do nothing about it. Ape is going absolutely nuclear. 3 in the round for himself. Pino left alive. alive with 1 HP to his name. This round has been an absolute car crash for NIP. And Weibo, well, Ape especially, pop it off.
Just brilliant stuff. Just brilliant stuff. NIP. I'm worried on a little bit of a deeper level for NIP because of the kill on the blitz. You know, you weren't happy about it at the time, Des. NIP shouldn't be happy about it. Ape has already killed the Amaru as they come up the hatch. The comms should be there. Ape is on door. Ape is in behind bookshelf. But no, the blitz of Cons just goes running past. Cons, a player that the Des picked up on during that break between maps, saying we need a little bit more. Look, he's running in there as if he doesn't know where Ape is. There should be clear comms there. There should be clear comms coming in from the Amaru of hits to say that's exactly where Ape is, and he should be fronting him up with that shield. Big problems for NIP.
The thing is with a lot of these plays in Siege, I say it a lot, is like that looked like a terrible play by NIP, but the idea itself wasn't bad. It was the execution of the idea that was wrong, because Pino being on the break door, for example, does stop support coming in from break side to protect the Aruni inside of Office itself. If the Blitz has managed to get the turn onto the right player and turn hard left, gone for the Aruni with the cover of Pino behind him, great. It's a great little play they've pulled together. But just small little things go wrong like that, and it makes the whole thing like an absolute car crash. So I'm not filled with enthusiasm yet for NIP. I think the ideas are okay. The execution is what is lacking, and sadly, it's execution that will get you over the finish line. The only execution taking place right now is Weibo putting NIP into an early grave by the looks of it. Good start. Let's see if round 2 gives us anything a little bit different. Cons moves over to the Monty.
Another thing that they picked up on the desk, Fox here was saying, you know, they need to be in a position to be finding trades, to be impacting on the deaths of their teammates. And again, it just wasn't something that we saw from NIP there in round 1. So keep an eye on that as we go on. When they lose a player, are they taking one with them or not? Ooh. They didn't, because Ape killed most of them. And guess what? Didn't get killed before the end of the round. So something that NIP need to swiftly improve upon. But let's focus on the positive as well. Weibo are just playing phenomenally. We've absolutely waxed lyrical about them in the first map. We will continue to do so in this one because they are really on top of things. That's the trade. That's the game you want to be playing if you're NIP, but it's Weibo who's able to deliver. Reaps manages to trade out Fantasy.
Tries his very best to go back with the repeat on towards Pino. How on earth he got away in the first place, I don't know. But did manage to escape. NIP are going to collect. One of the first times now in a long time it feels like that they have a man advantage of 4v3 and a lot of time to play with Tim, one of them being a Monty. This is a round you cannot lose.
100% agree. This is, absolutely unforgivable if they lose this from here. I don't think they will, but Weibo, as I've said, have been brilliant at finding answers and finding ways so far. I'm just watching Speakeasy with that shotgun. I don't know, I've got a feeling. You watch how that one comes about as the round goes on. 1 minute 10 left to go. NIP, they're not rushing here. They're using the time that they've got. It can always be a big friend of yours, can the clock, in Siege if you use it well, and they are doing at the minute. They've got that top floor control. They're starting to look on down the hatch. They're starting to put pressure onto the players inside. They're not getting overly carried away. They're not rushing this. They're not running headlong into a problem.
They aren't. They're getting themselves set up and they're playing slow, like you say, but to get towards this last 45, they've got to have a rock-solid plan, and again, the execution is what matters the most for me. They've got no more frags they can roll down, a couple of smokes to play with, and of course the Monty shield, so they have got utility available, but it just feels like Weibo tucked in, ready and waiting. Speakeasy out towards waiting room. They've got a good drop in towards bathroom available to them. But then what's the response from the other side? Plant now going down.
The problem with where they're tucked in is how does Speakeasy now try to impact on this plant? He can't do because of the cover from the hatch. Ape tried to move through, but again, couldn't do anything because of the cover from the plant. This is really well worked from NIP. Much better and much more of what we need to see from the Brazilian side. Hits manages to pick up a kill. 30 seconds left to go. They're trying to challenge above here away, but they know that they have to, but there's very little they can do because Wizard is there. He's got the angles covered. They tried from one side, it didn't work. They tried from the other, and neither did that. Really well played on elbow from Wizard. NIP on a whole, just look, honestly, they look like a different team that round. Look like a different team. Just really cohesive, really nice. Got the vertical control, got the space for the plant. Cons didn't rush in with the Monte, just went in when the support was there, when the cover was there, got the plant down. Really, really nice from them. 1-1.
The key thing is, it comes down to what we were speaking about in the pregame. We need to see them play as a team. And I feel there, once they've had that initial scrap over clearing out office, that's all they've done for the rest of the round is play as a team. I was a bit nervous here when Reeks manages to get across back in towards site. I was like, oh no, what's going on? Site, sorry. But across in towards Armory, I was a bit like, okay, this doesn't look too good for them. But Pino manages to collect him. Off the back of that, everything for NIP was so focused on the execute itself. They didn't have excess players trying to do crazy lurks throughout the map. Everything was focused on vertical cover and making sure they couldn't get flanked. And other than that, it was all about the plant. Really good, really well composed. We're back where we were though, Tim, at the start of Clubhouse, where it's 1 apiece. Where do we go from here? Is it going to be another straight line win for one of these two teams, or does it stay a little bit closer?
I think we are going to see better from NIP than we did on Clubhouse. I think we are going to see them picking up some more rounds, especially if they can continue playing like that. I want to see very much the same from them this time around. They're attacking onto ventilation, so they need to get that top floor control. Speakeasy's up there on the Warden at the minute. That's kind of a bit of a nod, I think, towards the blitz that they've seen being brought along, but also not wanting the easy option for NIP to use those flashers, smokes, to be able to cause a problem again like they did last time around. But I'd expect them to be going in there, clearing Speakeasy out, clearing Ape out, which has not been the easiest task that they've had so far. Get that top floor control and then start applying that vertical pressure.
What I do like is how we've seen this Brava being brought along quite consistently by NIP, and normally you'd see Hoven playing on the Melusi. In fact, on the defensive side, Melusi has been played 3 times more by him over the last few months than any other operator. It is his go-to bread and butter. And even in this round where he's not on it, it's still being present inside of the team. On a map like this, it's great for that information. The one that you saw outside the door, for example, lets you know when someone's repelled in, and the rounding on that door, it's a bit of information to you rather than strictly trying to impede the other side, but it certainly does help. So I like that NIP have read in towards that. They know that Melusi is going to be on the board, therefore the Brava is always going to be useful in every single round, even if you don't see that Melusi, because you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be there.
4 players from Weibo are positioned up on this top floor. Fantasy has been sent in ahead of the rest of his team to try and start creating a little bit of space. He has got support from Wizard as well. They've managed to get themselves CCTV, but that is all the ground that they've got covered at the moment. Pressure is mounting towards Armory as well, just using the Shield of Cons to try and bully the couple of players that are in there. But at the minute, Reeks and Speakeasy, they are not for moving, Des.
No, but also keeping an eye on Ape, because he's currently downstairs in the Solars, and of course sees when someone gets on drones, for example. And Speakeasy's managed to get rid of Fantasy again. The player that's got the entry for them has now been traded out himself, as he's down but not out, but surely should get finished off into a 3v3. But Ape, he carries on this map, Tim, up to a couple of kills in the round himself, but now it's a 2v2, and you're against the shields. Good luck, my friends.
You've got Ape back downstairs now, working in towards site. Hoven is trying to hold on from Fountain. He's not going to be moved here. He's on the castle, and he's just waiting, but he knows he's going to be challenged by a shield. But does Cons know? If he doesn't know that he's tight around the corner, this could be an opportunity for Hoven to pick up an important kill. He moves around, they've got no idea.
A matter of
He
pixels.
is so unfortunate on the siege time in there. 30 seconds left to go. He takes the choice to drop downstairs. This is an opportunity for NIP.
Tried to get the drop through here as well, smartly using the shield to make sure they can get the drop, but Ape's gone off again into a 3rd in the round, Tim. Finally gets shut down, but there's Hover with the round from behind. Well played by the boys there. The key thing in this round for me, Tim, compared to last time on Bathroom, is they were moving. We didn't see the Weibo players sitting still. They kept themselves busy, and it kept NIP in a state of confusion.
I think NIP are going to be very sorry that their intel didn't pick up Hoven upstairs in Fountain. They had Cons right there on the Blackbeard. That's the challenge you want. Face to face with the castle, you should win that out almost every time on the shield. He just didn't know that he was around the corner. And that's smart play from Hoven. He stood stock still, because if you move too much, you're going to give a little audio cue that you are present. They're going to hear that little bit of a rustle of cloth around the corner. They're going to move in and take the challenge. It wasn't something that NIP recognised, and they were ultimately punished, Hoven being the one to pick up that final kill. So NIP, I feel like they haven't, you know, sort of lost everything that they gained in round 2. They still look good in parts, but again, Weibo have adapted. They've adapted and they've answered the questions being asked of them. Fantastic stuff. Honestly, I can't find enough superlatives for this Weibo side today. I absolutely am loving watching them.
You stole the words out of my mouth, and I kind of said it at the end of the round. You look back at the Bathroom Tellers defense, they were static, they sort of let NIP do what they wanted to. Yeah, NIP were playing PvE for most of it, whereas in that round, they were much more mobile, they were busy, they've adapted. NIP couldn't show any adaptation back on our previous map. Is the same thing going to sting them here? Do we see Weibo press on in the second quarter and have a great time? That remains to be seen. They've also taken the Monty offline. We've also got the Clash taken away by the other side there, so a like for like. But the Monty has been, at least we saw back in round 2, quite pivotal for NIP. It was the only round in which they saw a win. You might see the Blackbeard, you might still see the Blitz, for example, but it's the one thing that gave them a win, now taken offline. Is that going to hurt NIP? Find out as the rounds move on forward. In this one, there are no shields, so a very different vibe to what we saw in the first 3 rounds. Instead, leaning in towards the Sens, the Nomad, the Lion, and of course, Fantasy being across on that Deimos that we've seen him play already quite a bit throughout this series.
Yeah, very execution heavy here is what we're looking at. This is a team, this is a lineup, a composition that is aimed towards getting that diffuser down. So again, it's another reference point, it's another judgment tool for NIP at the end of this round. Did you get the diffuser down? Were you in a position? Did you have the space, the ability to be able to play the objective or not? Because that is what they are shaping up for. We do see the first of those Sense gadgets just sent up outside of the armory door. It's just being set up and you can choose when to kind of pop it into action and not. So they're just getting things ready, or NIP.
They know where a couple of players are as well. There we go. They know both are inside of office, and they're pretty sure there's one inside a break, or at least out towards the corridor looking to give some support. So they should know what's going on here and have a good idea. Now they know the layout of where this Weibo defense is set up. They've got to move, because information becomes stale quite quickly in Siege. 5-10 seconds later, players can have moved, things can have changed, and sure enough, that's exactly what's happened. Hoven stepped across a little bit. Reeks wasn't quite set on 90 anymore, so things have moved. There's only now one player inside of office itself. But I'm always worrying here, Tim. They go towards the path of Old Empire, where they then start paralyzing themselves through analysis. They overdrone, they look too many times over and pay the price. But here we are, they're in for 2, they're good for 3, Tim. Reeks getting at least 1 back, but the numbers with NIP, slow it down, pause, back on the drones here. This is all yours for the taking.
Yeah, that's it. You can use the clock now. 1 minute 10 left to go. You've still got all your utility you need. All they've lost is Fantasy along the way. Con steps up, leads from the front, manages to pick up another 4 versus 1. Get in, get that diffuser down now. They're making sure that the space is available, but Pino, he should be getting in there and just putting the case down, force this last player into a position. I think that's exactly what we're going to see. Or are they just hunting down that last player, looking for the kill? I don't know. They're just
also
being
low.
cautious. They're just being cautious, but now, there we go. Pino is in. Diffuser's going down. Hoven has to make a move, and they've got it covered. Well played, NIP.
Yeah, really well done here. Again, I wanted to see them slow things down once they had that 4v2, but they managed to get the second, and from there, they push things forward nicely. Hoven will do what he can, but at this point, it's just going to be a little bit of stat padding if he does get any kills off the back of this. NIP are simply not losing this round, which means we're back up to 2-2, Tim. They're showing a little bit of fight, which is exactly what we wanted to see.
Not only with the plant, but also the final kill. Pino will close out that round. NIP keeping themselves competitive here on board, and not one of their favourite maps. So anything that they can gain, any ground that they can call their own, is going to be a positive for them. And they are currently sat 2-2. And we're going to see the shield ban, I think, take a little bit of effect. We saw the Clash ban coming in against Weibo. We saw them using it earlier on, in this map, and we saw it to great effect alongside Ape to provide that intel for him. And I feel like they have lost a little bit of something there in that round by not having that Clash. We saw Ape dealt with. We saw the kind of collapse from NIP come in onto those tough positions that they'd struggled to clear previously. So I like to see that as well. Sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating when you see a ban come in from a team against an operator and then they don't really play into it, and you kind of like, well, why have you banned it? Whereas that, for me, NIP is just showing there that they've got a game plan. They've taken away the Clash, we've taken it away because that's going to help us deal with this spot. They've gone in and got the kills and dealt with that spot. So it just lines up much better. I like that from them, and maybe a bit more of a resurgence coming from the Brazilian side.
And they've also showed that they can play without the Monty or any shield, in fact, very comfortably. And what I liked about it is it almost forced them to have to play faster. The one thing we didn't see back on Club was that pace, and I was a little bit nervous that in round 2, yes, they got it over the line, but they relied on that Monty to be the sort of tip of the spear while they played super slowly and got through the map and so on and so forth. they're kind of being forced to play the game here a little bit quicker, and at least in that previous round showed they can do so very decisively. A lot of flashes coming in, you had the Sens light walls going down, and that was what let them get the kills that really set that round up to be closed out in their favor. Will the same happen again? Well, it's certainly going to kick off that way. It's Speakeasy already being finished off here. A free first kill being found out by Fantasy. Great start to the round.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. What NIP want to be seeing as well. You know, we've spoken about Fantasy at length, both on the desk and here in the cast, and that's what we want to see from him. Get in there, get aggressive, get that entry, give your team that little bit of extra space. Hoven does manage to pick up hits, level things out, 4 versus 4.
Now it's up on top 4 inside of Armory as well, so I think there was someone trying to sniff it in from the Armory doorway, and that's where he's managed to secure it. Still a lot of players scattered throughout the map is the key thing. Like, look at the Weibo players at the bottom right corner of your screen. You can see where they are. And Tim had a mouthful of drinks, so could only go, That was far better than you going, The best thing would have been if you spat it everywhere, but I'm so glad that you didn't. Otherwise, it would have been a very, very messy place for a while. But this is the problem. You give them a bit too much space. They're not drawing themselves back together is the problem for NIP. They've left themselves somewhat spread apart, and this is where Weibo will come into their own. If you let them move around the map and be problematic, what are they going to do? Move around the map and be problematic, Tim.
So the big problem that NIP have got here, if we look at the last time they attacked this site, they've got great top floor control. They used that Monty to get in there and do it, and they were able to use the hatch to create the space inside a site. That's not the case now. They've still got Turd and Hoven up in office, have Weibo. So top floor control is fully theirs. NIP with a minute left to go. I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, where are you going to get rid of those players? How are you going to get rid of those players? I spoke about NIP playing into their Clash ban. This feels like Weibo playing into their Monty ban. You know, they know they're going to have a little bit more freedom on that top floor without that shield facing them down.
This one already scary enough as well, giving Capital DMR certainly a decision. Makes it even more terrifying throughout the game. But at this point, it feels like they're kind of sniffing for players, Tim. They don't 100% know where they are. And yet again, Hoven, that's his 3rd kill that he's winning in a 1v1, where there is just no team play coming out from NIP to see him hunted down. You saw there, we're going to see the track starting to come out, but eventually cancelled off. He's going to sit there very nice and happy for now. A nade over the top to try and force him out. He hops on over, doesn't quite find his man. There's 2 kills they need. Reaps has got a hold on against both.
What a turnaround, 15 seconds. Hoven was on for the ace for a second there, but no longer. 2v1 Wizard is just looking to see if he can find the last man. It's going to be Pino. Picks him up out of the shout. Cubicle, that's going to be a round to NIP.
A great save as well, because I really got nervous when Uppe picked up that 3rd kill, Tim. He's just been dancing around the map, and as I said, taking constant 1v1s, winning them out. NIP not able to close down on him, and I thought surely this sees the whole thing fall apart. But Pino, in the dying moments, finding Reach is what keeps them going over the line. 3-2 now to NIP. And the first time in the series team that they've been ahead.
Just see.
How many turn into 1v1s is honestly crazy. Unfortunate not to win this one, but it was the fact they got those 2 kills upstairs that set this up for a close.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see now NIP. If you remember in the last map, I said there was a little bit low energy in the team, kind of, you know, the first, I know they were, like, you know, getting absolutely battered on Clubhouse, but it was kind of like they'd already lost. And I'm just seeing that energy, that passion creep back into that team now. And I feel like, you know, these Brazilian teams, they thrive on energy. They thrive on a little bit of chaos. And NIP need to start creating that. 3-2 now they are on the scoreboard. I think, get this, 4-2. That's what we'd expect from your attacking half. Push on from there. See if you can maybe put Weibo on the back foot. It's looked good for them over the last couple of rounds. Just need a little bit more of that. I'm not going to say they were lucky. They played it well, but it was a 2 versus 3 that they won. So they didn't necessarily have control of the round up to that point. So this is what I'd like to see for NIP's last attack is use that shield again. You've brought the Blackbeard instead of the Monty because of the ban. Get cons in there and create that control. Create that map control that you're looking for. That presence. Force Weibo out of those positions and dominate the round from there.
It's worth giving some some kudos towards Pino as well, who across the 2 maps. It's been a standout performance for both, well, for his team across both of those maps so far. 6-7 on the prior, but then no one did go positive on that map, so you can't really fault him too much. 6-2 so far here, putting up some good numbers alongside Wizard and very much keeping NIP, I wouldn't say in control of the game, Tim, but they are in the lead. Which way this one goes, I don't really know, because again, control often is a big thing that you have to worry about. And when the sides swap, Weibo could just come out like a freight train and just run over NIP.
Certainly could. We're going to see the first of that utility use. We just see a little explosion from beneath as well. I think it was one of the impact nades coming up from Hoven just to try and back up the Blackbeard of Cons, and it was successful for the moment at least. If we have a look across, nobody from NIP inside of the map yet. A minute 30 into the round. We always say this of defenders. Defending border, stop attackers getting inside of the map. So Weibo doing a good job of that for the first half at least.
Taking it nice and slow. Admittedly, Weibo are a little bit more, I won't say fully condensed in, because you've got Turd inside of Office and you've got the Aruni, of course, playing out towards Office side. So they are looking to control as much as they can, and Wizard to get one reach on the other side, gets one for himself, makes it two, and Ape carries on. There we go, that's the sweep they needed. They were taking none of that nonsense coming in from the other side. Ape yet again gets 3 kills for himself. He is well and truly flying on this map, Tim. That's 10 kills, I believe he's now at.
How do you play against Ape like that? You know, we've said that we'd like to see NIP getting more trades. They were in position to do that. The problem is he just kept killing them. Every time one of them's coming in for a swing, he just flicks across and gets another kill. Ape is just having one of those standout games at the minute that makes him super, super difficult to play against. And NIP finding that out the hard way. So 3-3 at the split. We're going to move into the second half. And you've got to say, on what is normally an attacker-sided map, that is a higher preference for Weibo, you maybe got to fancy him to take this 2-0.
It's feeling that way, Tim. Yeah, going into the attacking side, I definitely favour them, given how well they were, how good they were at attacking on club. The explosiveness, the aggression, the team play was absolutely phenomenal. And so I'm wondering if NIP got what it takes to hold on a map which really favours attackers with that play style. This is where I feel a little bit nervous for them, but we can't also ignore they've got 3 attacking rounds of their own here. Maybe it's enough to take us through to that third map of Cafe.
In the highlights that all came within about 6 seconds in that round. You could be forgiven for thinking that they'd been pieced across the entire round, but no, it was just one after another when Weibo decided that enough was enough on that defense. So let's get into round 7. Going to be up on that top floor side. Armory to begin with, 3-3, and Weibo are on the attack. Just looking across at their attacker lineup. Might change yet, of course. They do have the option.
Tim, you never learn.
I know.
You never learn.
Going to do it anyway. Speakeasy is going to be bringing the Blackbeard along again. We've seen him using the shields previously on Clubhouse, and it was done to good effect for Weibo. Any utility they brought, they always seem to get the most out of it. They always seem to do really well with it. Whether it was the Monty, whether it was the Capitao, I commented in Clubhouse on their utility use on the attack, and I'm expecting more of the same here. So what have we got? We've got the Grim, and we've got the Blackbeard in particular. We've also got the Twitch. The Twitch is going to be essential to go in and clear out those Vulcan canisters. We're going to see those drones trying to do that. One taken out there, so that is good from NIP, protecting that just delay utility they've got that Cons will have been positioning around. So, Weibo, how do you use that utility? Where do you use it? And what benefit does it gain you?
It's one thing worth remarking on, Grim actually is a top operator for both of these teams. Top 2, they absolutely love playing it. We haven't seen NIP play it once throughout this series so far, whereas Weibo, 4 times back on Clubhouse, and immediately here on the attack inside the border, it's being brought along. And so I'm curious if NIP are fearing using it here and playing it. Right now you've got to fear Ape, who's up now, I believe, to 19 kills throughout this series. One hell of a show coming out from him. And that's the start that you want. Hates offline, a 5v4, and they've still got a shield on side. Feels painful to be NIP.
I think we're going to see the lack of trades for NIP become a bigger problem now they're on the defensive side. I get a feeling that Weibo are going to have more opportunity and more ability to isolate these NIP players, or at least that's what they're going to be looking to do. Like that entry kill they got, there was no response to it. So NIP, that's something they need to focus on. Don't allow Weibo to isolate you. Make sure that you're playing close to your teammates. Make sure that you can impact on each other. Speakeasy manages to pick up one onto Fantasy, while Pino, he takes down Reaps. So we find ourselves now 3 versus 3. Speakeasy still trying to aggress forward with that Blackbeard.
This is what you want, right? The shield to give you the information to tell the rest of the team as to what's going on, while also being a major threat in your own right. But it is this 3v3 we set into. A lot of utility still to work with on the attacking side, but it's more the positional problem they've got. Pino hits another one. It's his 2nd kill of the round, by the way, with the Reaper.
Disgusting.
Who cares about the primary when he can do it all with the secondary?
2 versus 3 now, and NIP looking in a much more comfortable position here. Of course, the site being up on the top floor, it leaves Turd and Speakeasy both outside of the map at the minute. conscious of being challenged as they go in there, but NIP have been able to just drop themselves away. Interestingly, have a look at where Pino's moved to, Des. He's dropped himself away underneath. Now that he's the spare man, he's got down there on the pulse. He has the shotgun. He has a nitro. I don't see any way that Weibo win this.
Unless getting up on the desk, but if the hatch is open, then it still makes it tough. Like, I don't know. Not a lot of time to work with either. They know where the second one is. They've got the call, they've got the cover. Now he's about to get swung by two. Surely he should go down, since this now leaves a lot towards Pino. You were in a 3 versus 2, and suddenly we're down to the 1v2. Pino has pushed upstairs at the ready, sees his man, can't quite get him. Takes a couple of shots, they know where he's coming from. Final 5 seconds here. He's got to hold on. Gets rid of 1, on for the 3, but can he find the 4? Yes, he can. Pino saving the round for NIP.
Pino does not make a liar of me, Des. For a second there, I thought Weibo were going to. I said that there was no way they should win that from there. Pulse underneath, nitro, shotgun, everything he needed. We heard the nitro. It was missed. It didn't find its mark, and for a moment, it looked like Weibo were going to get total control of that site, but Pino just showing that experience, just showing that calmness under pressure. Said, you know what? No, it didn't work from underneath as a pulse. I'm going to get back up there. I've already had 2 kills on the Reaper. I think I'll get myself another 2. 4K in the round. Brilliant pulse play.
Yeah, the 3K back in round 5 that NIP won. He's just had 4K and a 1v2 here. There's 2 rounds that you can almost solely put on Pino's head. And Weibo, we've seen some good rounds from Ape, for example. He's definitely drafted through a couple of his own. But who's going to be that hero to save out the really tough ones that they need to get over the line? Right now, NIP are the ones yet again in the lead.
It's a really interesting position there, because you look at it, it's 2v1. You know where the pulse is. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be saying, Speakeasy, you've got the diffuser. Why haven't you gone for the plant there and allowed to hold the cover and you move across? One reason for that, I think they were wanting to plant near the breach wall, near the main door. The problem was that Pino had already challenged them through the soft wall. They know he's a pulse, they know he's got the shotgun. So they don't want to invite him into small office to challenge through the wall with the shotgun. What I would say, though,
don't forget.
Well, yes, but it had been used. But they may or may not have known that. What I'd be saying is, I think they were in a position to get a plant down, but behind the lockers that are near the half wall. If they cross over there, there's no angle that Pino can get from the door, from the position that he's in to challenge onto that. He has to come and swing around the lockers to be able to do that. Now, there is that nitro argument. They might not have realised.
They didn't know he was upstairs,
They might not. I think they did. He'd taken shots at them, but they might not have realised, or he could have gone back downstairs. So I think that was, you know, all these things are kind of racing through your mind with 5 seconds left to go. It's easy to look at it from this position and say, oh, well, yeah, perfectly, just go and plant on the lockers. But there was a lot of things screaming at them not to, and it was just really well played by Pino. He took full advantage of it.
Look at Ape here as well, and super early and aggressive. Good spot to be in. His last E1D coming out here as well. He's desperately trying to find someone and gets the head of Haste. There's no swing to come back the other way. At least Pre-Fire is anticipating it, as you probably should at this point. But he's in a good spot where he can start putting some pressure down here already inside the site. You're so used to seeing pressure coming upstairs, Tim, that he's in a really dangerous spot right now.
Ape's just having a field day, isn't he? He's 12-5 at the minute. Just phenomenal stuff
20
from
kills
him.
in the series.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable, and just continues to go. Hoven's going to pick up Wizard. NIP just in a little bit of trouble inside of this round, but we have seen them been able to win from these man disadvantaged positions. Challenge continues to come in. Really great use of utility. Again, it's something I keep picking up on for Weibo, but the nade goes in, forces the movement. The kill comes being picked up by Turd. Speakeasy manages to find Fantasy. Cons, he gets a 1v5 down to a 1v4, but this round is pretty much done. It's time to get that diffuser down if you're Weibo.
Yeah, looking at Hoven here, he's coming around the outside of the map to get himself in through the window by the vending machine and to get that diffuser down. Cons should not be able to get in a spot where he can stop this one. But has started working his way on the upstairs here, anticipating there'll be some vertical cover, which is very, very common for this plant itself. But keeps on giving himself away and reaps. He ain't going to miss the audio cue of that last gunshot. Gets the kill he needs in a very, very dominating round by Weibo. What I love about it, Tim, was it was all lateral. Didn't really bother with the vertical. They said, you know what? I'm going to come and punch you in the face right through the front door, and there's very little you can do about it. Great stuff.
I have no idea which way border goes from here, to be honest. It's kind of just, you know, each team round about having a great round.
Que os caras no ventilação e no banheiro jogam pra baixo, cara joga pra baixo perdido?
Sim.
Então eu não quero a gente morrendo pra esse cara. Então sim, acabou. Se a gente fica parado ali, mano, só resistindo às paradas, eles estavam perdidos. Eles começaram indo PC, depois o Blackbeard virou leste, tá ligado?
Sim,
eles estão meio perdidos.
mapa.
Então, mano, vamos continuar, mano. Vamos continuar resistindo nas paradas e dando esse all-in depois, tá ligado? Não vamos cair nesses bait, não vamos morrer pra esses caras comendo embaixo. Esses caras solo, tá ligado? O que eu acho, mano? Acho que a gente pode banir Black Beat, que eles vão se fuder um pouco nessa comida da leste, tá ligado? Acho que eles começam a se perder um pouco nisso. Demorou?
A gente faz uma ventilação...
Mano, vamos ventilação.
5 em cima?
5 em cima. Vamos 5 em cima, fica mais fácil a gente jogar, tá ligado? Não tem problema, joga de goio.
All right, work to do, no doubt. Of course, we can't understand Portuguese, so not much we can share with you there on what was said. But I imagine there's some holes being identified, some gaps here they can see to exploit Weibo, and it must really be on this attacking side, let's not forget as well, where they've seen there are weaknesses and holes that they can open up. And to do so after just a couple of rounds in the half, I think says enough. Do not want to see NIP slipping any further back. So the coach steps in for a few words. On we go then, Tim, down to Vent and Workshop for our next round. Round 9.
Again, I think NIP need to keep themselves on top of this situation. The last thing that they need is to be facing down match points against them. Because I feel like, again, the energy has been up and down in the team, and once they get to that threshold against themselves, I think they might struggle to fight their way back into it, but we will see how it goes. There is also, of course, the other side of it where you look at Weibo and think, you know, they are kind of getting better and better on this international stage, but still, when faced with the opportunity to beat a big name like NIP, the nerves will start to kick in just a little bit.
Just a bit, but surely enough to then get it over the line. I think, like, I do favour Weibo to win this one, again, knowing that it's a map they're very, very comfortable on. They've got a good history on. It's very attacker-leaning and how they've attacked so far throughout this series. I think it'd be hard-pressed to say they can't do it, especially given that NIP's win in round 7 did come down to a big turnaround by Pino. A round that surely should have gone the way of Weibo, and they could have been long clear at this point at 5-3, but it's just how the game falls sometimes. So there's still work to do. First call, as you saw, coming out from Alabad, just now coming online for Ape Sare. He's trying to get the down on towards Wizard and have found it. Don't think they'll get a chance to finish it off, mind you, and they must know that a second player is there. There's pings coming on all around, but they won't be able to quite get in here and stop this one. A risk always to try and get the man up, but they'll do what they can.
Fantasy's desperate to try and pick him up, isn't he? You can see it. Keeps having a look and thinking no, because he knows that the challenge is likely to come in the second that he does. So for the time being, Wizard will stay down. But now the plan's going down. Speakeasy, he's managed to find some space inside of a smoke. All that noise around Wizard has done its job. It's created the gap that Weibo needed, and Speakeasy gets the plant down in a 5v5.
I absolutely love that, Tim. Using a distraction elsewhere to go for the execute. Yes, NIP became aware of it, but they had less players available to defend than they would have liked. In we go, though, trying to get this one down towards the Goyo, but no, Cons has fallen. Can't get the disable. It's a 4 versus 2. Once again, Weibo have ran through NIP like a freight train, and they're back in the lead once more.
Well, that's what Weibo have done with their tactical timeout. They've called a play there to come in and make a big impact, and that's exactly the moment that it has given them. Brilliant stuff from Weibo. Just make a lot of noise over here, while really the problem is downstairs. The call is coming from inside the house. The diffuser is going down, and it was job done, especially when you've got that shield on side as well. You know then, even in a 5v5, it's going to be super difficult to do anything about that activated diffuser. Well played, Weibo. They've taken themselves another round. It's 5-4.
Yeah, really good stuff from Weibo, and this is what I said at the start of the round that I was nervous about. We've seen Weibo already pull this kind of stuff off back on club, and NIP couldn't adapt to deal with it. I'm a bit nervous that we're going to see more of the same. It's just like Weibo are in third gear and NIP is stuck in second at times. And to be fair, capitalising again on the chaos going on upstairs was absolutely wonderful from Weibo. 2 more rounds and they take this series 2-0. What were your expectations coming in, actually? I didn't ask you at the very start. Who did you have taking this series? It's so easy now to say Weibo, given where we are, but did you feel NIP could do it?
I felt like either team could do it. I'll tell you exactly what I put in my notes about it. And I said that a lot of people will expect an NIP win based on Brazilian team, NIP, big name, everything else, but that it would not be that simple. And that I would expect to see maybe a little bit of an advantage on maps, because Weibo kind of play everywhere, whereas NIP have got a few favourites and then they've got a losing record on quite a few maps over, if you look since sort of July to today. So yeah, for me, I thought it was going to be a little bit 50-50. I said in the green room before we came out today, I think Weibo take this. I think that's going to be one of the... I don't think it's a big surprise, but maybe one of the surprises for the day could be Weibo picking up their first win here.
And 2-0 as well. Don't forget, of course, your record in terms of how fast you finish a series also determines what points you get. A 2-0 gives you 4 points. A 2-1 gives you 3. Losing 2-1 gives you 1 point. If you can win no maps, you get 0 points. And we said how one series can be enough to either make or break your group stage. This could yet prove to be that series, as I alluded to a little bit earlier on. Anyway, Ape's down, the Ying is offline. Good start for NIP, Tim. Enough to hold on, we'll find out, because there's a bit of a util dump coming in from Rich, and they're going in for a plant once again. Very nice and shallow, but they've got to go deep, Tim, because of the smokes, and sure enough, he'll try his best, but Speakeasy cut down. NIP handedly dealing with this execute coming out from Weibo. A 5v1, and it looks like they'll be able to equalise things up to a 5 apiece.
Yeah, brilliant from NIP there, and I love this. So NIP really struggled on Clubhouse, but here we've got a real battle going on. It's toe-to-toe. They are just exchanging haymakers at the minute, and both of them are kind of taking it on the chin, rolling with the punch and coming back with one of their own, and I love to see it. NIP there, what they've done, they've read into that execute perfectly, not just in terms of the plan, but also the timing. As soon as that 3-2-1 hits, it's almost like NIP can hear Weibo's 3-2-1. It's almost like, right, go, and NIP go, yeah, okay, here come the smokes, here comes all the disruption. Brilliant stuff from the Brazilians.
The key difference, I think, there is where Weibo have come out on top previously is they've been able to get into a spot where they can bring down 2 or 3 players on that initial burst in towards a site or a part of the map. Here, they were bursting in just to execute. They had no ability to challenge. It's why you had things like smoke grenades coming down from both sides, just to cut each other's line of vision off and trying to see if they can get a plant down without any C4 stopping them, without any smoke stopping them. But the smokes were more than enough. So Weibo were kind of like rushing in and burning out before they had a chance to find any kills. It was well managed by NIP, which is what I loved about that round. Now, let's see how Basta and Tellus goes, because we've seen different approaches to this site so far. The top-down classic coming out from NIP. Weibo just going full horizontal on the first floor and looking to sweep through. And to be fair, doing so quite effectively off the back of Ape's push on the Lion. Which one are we going to see out of Weibo here? Because I imagine they've got a few tricks up their sleeve on what they can try and pull off to keep NIP on their toes.
The other big thing for NIP in that previous round was being able to turn around the little bit of momentum Weibo had been gaining on the entry. Weibo had 3 entries in a row, 7, 8, 9. Round 10, it's Fantasy who picks it up, and it just gave NIP that front foot and maybe carries them a little bit of momentum into round 11 as well. So keep an eye. The last 3 rounds have been won by the team who picked up the entry. Keep an eye which way that goes, and again, it feeds back into that Fantasy question, doesn't it? 6 and 9 at the minute. He's had a better map on border than he did Clubhouse, but his team really need him now.
Do. Pino. Hoping to get a bit more done. Ape's the one trying to step in. It's Wizard shutting him down, who again has had a great series himself so far. Certainly no complaints there, but that Lion, the X factor in the previous round that really opened up the map for his team, is offline. Ape's certainly not flying on the attacking side the same way that he did back on the defense, Tim.
I feel like Weibo are just starting to suffer a little bit to the same problem NIP have had, and that is a lack of trades here. NIP are able to find these kills without too much of a response at times, and that's something that Weibo have certainly done better on earlier in the game than the last few rounds. So just need to make sure that they're keeping it tight, that they're not sort of crumbling under the pressure, and that they don't let NIP start to run rampant.
Tried to move their way through with the Selmas, and it's just not working for them. So the swing comes on through, catches him on the reload. A bit too easy here for NIP, who look far more settled in these last 2 rounds. That's 2 in a row, Tim, in a flawless round. They'll find here, sorry. Second in a row is looking pretty cozy, and now they've got a great chance to send us through to Cafe as that 3rd map.
And it's a big problem because that's, 9 or 10 kills without the trade from Weibo. And this is what I'm saying. It's an area they need to be looking at quickly. I'd like to see maybe them take their tactical time out. There we go. It's like, you got to do it.
Look. We just need to start to 5v5. 5v5. Pay attention to the start. They are picking every round. What we're going to do is very simple, bro. Try to put more blitz. In time we are ready, let's go fast, 3-1. You guys are doing very well on this. The problem is we are kind of lost in losing the first kills, We just need to fix this detail and go in front, okay? We are the best, huh? Come on, guys. Come on. Good damage, huh?
I think there's another problem
3 rounds, guys. 3 rounds, huh?
You wanna play slow and I can take Monty and go east because they're gonna be fans.
Yeah. Possible.
I think
the thing is,
just go east,
or we will exec fast, or you play slow and just find the kills.
I think so.
But pay attention on the start, guys.
Yeah. I think we need to get more engaged, maybe, because...
Yeah, they're kind of very short and Sweet point there. If it's the early round that we're losing, play more 5v5.
I think the slight concern I'd have coming out of that tactical timeout, it felt like there was maybe a little bit of indecision at the end there. It was kind of like, you know, you had Speakeasy saying, look, we can play slow if we want, we can take the Monty, we can go east, we can just try to push in slower. And it was kind of like, well, yeah, we can do, or we could play fast and we could do this. And rather than a focused, decisive, this is what we're going to do. Let's see how it plays out. You know, maybe it looks like they are going to be going for that option. Speakeasy going to play on the Monty, try to push in, probably through east and take ground from there. So let's see how that plays out for them. But NIP, I think there's, you know, they've maybe got them on the ropes a little bit. They maybe got them, I won't say rattled, but, you know, Weibo are certainly thinking that this one isn't going all their way. There's an opportunity for NIP here.
There is. 5 seconds left. And I also wouldn't be super disheartened if you're Weibo. Like, you've stomped the first map. You're on your second life here. NIP, they have to get this right. They can't afford to be wrong. And so the advantage is massively with you. You've already attacked this site brilliantly. Again, they probably won't pull off exactly the same execute. They'll try something a little bit different here, just to keep NIP guessing. Speakeasy on that Monty could be, once again, quite a decisive factor for them. Turd also jumping over to the IQ to show a bit of respect, I imagine, towards the Echo on the other side.
Pino certainly showing on this second map that Paris is a city that he likes playing in, as we said last time around. Des picked up on it and discussed it. 2021 here in Paris, he won the SI with a very different roster, but he's back. Certainly looking for more with the way that he's playing so far. Keep an eye on him through the round. He's on that pulse again. We saw great play from him last time. He got 4K in the round, able to clutch out a 1v2 as well. This time he's going to be playing up in office, trying to hold on to that top floor. Here comes the push though that Weibo were talking about. Get Speakeasy in on the Monty and start to try and push forward from there. But Pino's position again, opening up with that shotty, is going to make it difficult to play that east stairs position.
Oh, here we go. The flank from behind as well. Wizard coming in, but Speakeasy's gone. A bit too far forward. Reach to step in and get at least one back. Pressure coming in still from the east stairs side. Turd collects Fantasy, who's also playing that side of the map. It is the war of the east stairs in this round so far, Tim. It's one that Weibo are winning, but Turd, I swear to God, is getting shot in the back in a second, but no! Misses the chance at a freebie. A little bit of a lick on towards Pino, but that's all he's going to find.
Hits is down as well, so effectively we're now in a 4 versus 2. You've lost a lot of that power. I think he was carrying the shotgun on the mute, so again, real powerful in those CQC positions at top east stairs, those close angles, but not going to be able to get anything done. We're going to see Cons have to drop away here. There's got to be an opportunity to think about getting that diffuser down. It's actually down cold. Reaps and goes and recovers it.
Last time we were here, we had Pino go nuclear, and once again he's down into a 1vx. It's still a 1v2 this time, and they know exactly where he is. Life's going to look a bit scary here. Hoven's there, top of the stairs. Tim, you can say the line.
We're going to overtime, Des. Indeed. We're getting a little bit more on border.
Just that little bit more. 3 rounds to see who takes this map. If Weibo can get it done and over in 2, or if NIP send us through to that map 3. And as I said earlier, there is a point on the line here. Even if we get to that 3rd map, the loser still walks away with just 1 point. They lose here 0-2 NIP. They walk away with nothing from this matchup. So this is really important. And we've got Weibo starting on the attacking side of things. You can't really split the 2 teams because we've had consecutive 3-3 halves. I can't tell you which way this one goes.
No, it literally is anybody's. I think NIP... I think I would give an edge to NIP at the minute. I've liked the way they've looked on their defences, and I think, you know, that they do have more rounds in the tank that they can pull out. But the problem with Weibo today is, like I said, answers are abundant from them. They always find a way, or seem to. And right now, I have no doubt that they could turn it around. So like you say, it's so difficult to call as this. It is absolutely on a knife edge. I think what either team needs is a bit of a hero moment. We say you can't rely on them, but that's going to be what will swing, or very possibly will swing this matchup, is somebody like Pino, Fantasy, Ape, you know, one of these players that's going big, Reaps, Hoven, coming out, getting hold of it, bang, 3K, right, we've won the round, and then they push on from there.
New feed active.
We're still largely leaning into what we've seen already. Speakeasy staying on the shields in the blitz here, a little bit quicker, a bit more pacey. And on the other side, doubling down on the information, got the Valkyrie here joining up with the pulse, but it's Fantasy down early. That can't happen inside 14 seconds into the round, Tim. Ape's got a freebie, and even he's wondering how the hell that's happened.
He's hitting with the question mark, Des. He's just playing into the mind games a little bit as well. Like you say, Fantasy, it's not just about taking that opening death. It's the fact that he was on the smoke. Lot of utility. We've seen NIP make fantastic use of that smoke utility earlier on in the game. They're now going to have to live without it. 5 versus 4. And what I like here from Weibo is straight away, foot off the gas, back onto the intel, back onto playing the round, not getting carried away and kind of sucked into it, which is where I think they've maybe struggled a couple of times. They've got that kill and they've tried to roll with the momentum, and NIP have kind of predicted that and stood up well to it. This time, Weibo are playing for much more of a control game. They go in, they get one, they get two. Great play from Speakeasy. Cons manages to get happy, but the damage is done.
But can they hold on, Tim? Can they hold on? There's no C4 left. Pino's got the right idea for a 1v1, but the thing is the pressure starts to mount more and more. Cons at least gets one back on towards third. Speakeasy, a 3k in the round on that blitz, and there's just one left, and you saw from that yellow ping, Tim, they know exactly where he is. This one looks pretty cooked.
Slants is going down. Speakeasy's in the position I said at the beginning of the round, Des, that they needed a hero moment from somebody. Speakeasy, he delivered. He stepped up. A nice triple on the blitz, putting the case down as well. Oh, great stuff out of Speakeasy. One of our very experienced players when you look at an SI basis. Unbelievable stuff from him. Rolling back the years, gets it done.
I think so long back now when he was playing on Giants, for example. He was the go-to shield guard. He was an absolute terror. And in that round, he's really quiet. The analyst said this back after map 1, that he'd gone 3-3, but his cost was up there at 88%. It's hard for you to contribute when your team is steamrolling and you're the backline player. The fact that when you need him most, he can turn up like that and get a crucial round over the line is massive for Weibo. They've now got 2 bites of the cherry to see this one over the line. They go on to the defense. NIP have really got to show us something special in this attacking round.
I think NIP are now backs to the wall, and we're going to see just how much resilience they've got in that side to be able to fight their way back into this one. 7-6, Weibo on the defense. Like you said, there was no real advantage massively between defense and attack. 3-3 halves in both directions, but Weibo do have the opportunity up on that top floor. If we look back to their defensive half, they won it twice, they lost it once. So they're at a 66% win rate on this site so far today. The odds at least will favour Weibo.
Well, this is the time to show what you're made of, boys. Otherwise, this first series of the Six Invitational is not the dream start, the fairy tale, the fantasy that you were hoping for. Speaking of, Fantasy's the one jumping across again onto that DMR Capital. Able to just bring so much to a team here in terms of utility. You heard Emmy speaking about him earlier, but Capital just an insane operator right now, and I imagine we're only going to see him more and more as the tournament goes by.
Ape's the big man here. Ape's the one that they have to clear out. He's back on Aruni, on the DMR, in CCTV. Where have we seen this before? Absolutely decimated him from this position a couple of times. He's 13-8. He's been quiet over the last couple of rounds, but all he needs is one big moment. NIP, if it goes wrong, if they get hit by Ape again, I can't forgive it, Des. I can't forgive it because they know exactly where he's going to be playing and how he's going to be playing it. They have to have an answer to that position.
Can they get the answer though, or do they fall down to him yet again? Because it has proven to be a nightmare time after time after time for the other side. The Malusive off a mention was brought along to help protect that area of the map. In this round, they're not bothering with it, and they've stepped away and gone instead towards third on the Fenrir, and Reach has gone on towards playing the mute instead of picking up the operator that he played a little bit earlier on today. As of yet, Weibo not moved. We're 75 seconds in. NIP still finding their entry in towards these stairs.
Yeah, Weibo are doing well here. They're absorbing a lot of pressure and a lot of utility. Is it going to take a big moment from a player like Turd? He's looking at that window. It just makes you wonder if he wants to get out of it. But Ape still hasn't been moved. Hoven is still in elbow, supporting him to stay in that position. NIP, they've kind of thrown the utility. They've kind of used that first gambit, and they haven't really gained too much for it. They've got his stairs, which is a good point to build from.
Oh, Turd has sat on this window so many times throughout this game and not really taken action. Now that he knows, he's gone for the swing and he's down to 1 HP, but Hates has got him first. cast. Unfortunate, almost managed to get his man, but for NIP, this is a good time to beat him. Saying that, look how low their health bars are.
Absolutely looking like it could be a Weibo round as one drops. Cons is taken out. Speakeasy manages to find hits. There is very little HP left, and surely this is going in only one direction, and that direction is going to be an NIP loss on the first day, but Fantasy starts to fight back. He starts to dream. It's 2 versus 3, but they've got about 10 HP between them, Des.
Oh, it's so hard. Literally a single bullet towards either of them, and they are down and out, and this one should therefore be done. 25 seconds to go. A lot of utility for the Capitao to work with here, Tim. They can at least cut off a couple of angles to make this one stick, but it's not a fully open breach either. They've got to go through the door, which makes this even riskier. Smoke going in deep. Still the 3 players on side. The C4 in the back pocket of Speakeasy. They found 1. They found 2. Weibo get the 2-0 over NIP.
What a performance from the APAC team, really kicking things off in the way they would have wanted, using that knowledge of Gohan there. He set them up perfectly to play those Brazilian teams, and they have got the job done. Will it be a surprise? I don't know if you could go that far after the performances that they showed us in Munich, but one thing is, they have turned up and shown us there's plenty more where that came from.
Really encouraging to see, really exciting to watch a team like that attack as well. This brings a lot of excitement, a lot of explosiveness, as we've seen across both of those maps. And off to a real good start here. Again, 4 points going in the back pocket of Weibo. NIP, they walk away empty-handed. RIP to NIP and RIP to this cast. Back after a short break.